Welcome back. We're now on to blanket stitches. Your blanket stitches are what holds the material together when you cut around it. Not all pieces do you do that type of cutting, but in this piece I've chosen to do it. So we're going to go over blanket stitches. First of all, you've done your closter blocks. Now you're going to start on the blanket. Again, the same as the closter blocks. We're not going to anchor our thread behind here. We're going to do a waist knot, and we're going to treat it as a separate entity again. With blanket stitches, the dark are your closter blocks and the light are your blanket stitches. There are two turns in a blanket stitch. There's the inner turn and the outer turn. The inner turn is fairly simple. The outer turn, there are a few variations. I'm choosing to do this variation where it gives it more of a curved look. You can do a square type of variation, and there may be even other variations, but we're going to do this variation. Okay, when you start your blanket stitch, I'm going to pull up at the top of the blanket stitch because we need those loops that go around, and this is how we do it. We start at the top. So you need to go up 8 stitches from your closter block, or 8 threads. Come up at the top of the stitch. I choose, and again you can choose to do it anywhere you want, and I apologize, I just have to fix the camera. There, okay. I choose to start in the middle. You can start at the end, you can start at one spot or another. This is just where I choose to do it. You can do it anywhere you want. So we will come up here, but what we will do, we will not go down in here. We will actually go down in here and come up there, right next to it. So this stitch, these 3, when we start, do not exist. They will happen at the end when we come back up around here. So we will come up here, we're going to do this stitch and carry on from there. I'm hoping that explains it that way, but getting into the actual stitching. Okay, so I've come up in the middle, 8 stitches up from my closter block. Let me sit down so that I can see what I'm doing here. So I've come up. Oh, I'm really hoping that's in frame. I can't see. Come up here. I'm going to go over 1 and down 4 and come in there. And I'm going to come up the 1 over from there. Tuck that thread underneath. That's what gives you the loop. And go through. And when I tighten it, I do not tug very much. It's just a light tug. I pull my thread over this way and come back. The next one. So 1 stitch, 1 thread over, go in and go straight up 4, and you're next to the one you just did. Tuck your thread under and pull out. I give it a little bit of a tug. Okay, so now we are right at the edge here. We're 4 stitches up at the bottom, 8 from the top. So we're right at the edge. We need to do our first turn, and this is an inside turn. So all we do with this turn is you put your needle back in the same hole that you were in before, turn your work, and oh, wait a minute, no, sorry, I apologize. See this, you're going to get all of this. Okay, this is actually the outer turn. I apologize. This is the outside turn. So again, you're going to put your needle in to that same hole because we're going to share that hole all the way around. I flick my thumb just so I can see what I'm doing, and I count over 2 threads. There's 1 thread, 2 threads. And again, go over your thread. So that's 1 there. Again, same hole again. I flick it up so I can see what I'm doing, and I go diagonally 1, which is over 1 and down 1. That's the second of that middle part of the turn. I'll bring the paper back up again in a moment. Again, same hole. This is the third. 1 time more, we're angling. So we do the 1 over and 1 down. It's on an angle. Put your thread over, or put your needle over your thread, sorry. And the very last one is the start of the next block. Turn our work. Try to make sure we're in camera. Again, same hole, share that hole. I flick it up with my thumb and I go down 2 stitches from where I was before, and I come up. And that's your turn. Then you go to the very next, cover over 1 thread, straight up 4 stitches, and that's your second stitch in that block or section. So let's continue on to the third. Oop. The third. Give it a little, very tiny, tiny tug. The fourth. And the last one you connect with this closter block. This closter block, you actually share that same hole, you connect with that closter block and come up 4 threads. This is that inside turn, it's just 1 turn. Okay. Turn your work. Oh, camera again. I apologize. Hang on a second. Okay. There we go. Okay. So you've turned your work. You've shared this hole here. You're going to share the same hole here. And again, share the same hole up top and down here, and that connects. That makes your corner sturdy so that you can cut around it. 4 threads, go over top of this thread and come through and carry on, and then you do the next curve, and then you do the next inner curve, and repeat that. I'm going to, let me come back up here. Let me bring out this again now that you've seen how it's done. So we started in the middle, we came up at the dot, and we went down here and came up at this dot. And then your needle is over top of the thread that came out of here. So this stitch is actually not done. Even though you came out of this hole, this stitch is not done. This stitch is done. Come up and then go down the next stitch and up here, down the next stitch and up here, down and up, down, and you're sharing this hole for 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This hole gets shared for 5 stitches. Again, that makes that corner sturdy. And this corner, oh, I should say here, it's where you come up here and down, you come up 2 threads over 1 thread, 2 threads, and then it's all on an angle, 1 over, 1 down, 1 over, 1 down, and then the last one is 2 threads, which is the first of the next block. The corner, this corner is fairly simple. So we're going to come up here, we're going to go down, and you'll see it shares the same hole as this clouster block. We come up, we go down, shares the same hole as this clouster block. Come, oh, how does that go? Come up? No, we come up here, down, and we come up, and then down, and then up, and then down. So you're always kind of going 1 over, and I'm really hoping that explains it. As I said before, below are 2 books I've recommended. The first book, Basics and Beyond by Janice Love, is excellent, excellent, excellent for explaining all these stitches. And she really goes into detail. So if you are thinking of doing Hardanger, it's really worth the investment of getting those books. And they are written below in the description. I'm going to continue around, and the next video I'm going to show you how to change your thread, end one thread and start a new thread. So we'll do that. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.